Yes, it is generally legal to install flexible metallic conduit, known as FMC, beneath the crawl space of a commercial kitchen. However, specific requirements and limitations may vary depending on the local building codes and regulations. While FMC can technically be installed in unlimited lengths, it is advisable to follow the manufacturer's recommendations and local code requirements for maximum allowable lengths. FMC must be securely fastened with straps or hangers at intervals not exceeding 1.8 meters, equivalent to 6 feet, and within 300 millimeters or 12 inches of boxes, cabinets, and fittings. FMC must be protected from physical damage and sharp edges. FMC must not be used in hazardous, also known as classified, locations. FMC must be installed in compliance with all applicable electrical codes and standards such as the National Electrical Code, or NEC, or the Canadian Electrical Code, or SEC. In commercial kitchens, FMC should be installed in a manner that allows for proper ventilation and heat dissipation. FMC should be protected from moisture and grease accumulation. Installers should consult with a qualified electrician or building inspector to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Some local codes or regulations may prohibit the use of FMC in certain applications. These may include its use as a replacement for rigid conduit for underground installations, or for critical systems such as emergency lighting. It is always advisable to check with the local building authority or qualified electrician to confirm the specific requirements and limitations applicable to the project. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides guidelines for the proper installation of flexible metal conduit. Article 348 covers the requirements for FMC. The NEC specifies that FMC must be supported at specific intervals to maintain its integrity and prevent damage. As previously mentioned, this typically involves securing the conduit with straps or hangers every 1.8 meters, or 6 feet, and within 300 millimeters, or 12 inches of boxes, cabinets, and fittings. The NEC also addresses the grounding requirements for FMC. It is crucial to ensure that the conduit is properly grounded to provide a safe path for fault currents. This can be achieved by using approved fittings and connectors that establish a reliable electrical connection between the conduit and the grounding system. When working in a commercial kitchen environment, it is important to consider the potential exposure to moisture, grease, and other contaminants. The NEC requires that FMC be suitable for the specific environmental conditions in which it is installed. This may involve using fittings and connectors that are designed to be watertight or corrosion resistant. In addition to the NEC, local building codes may have their own specific requirements for FMC installations. It is essential to consult with the local building authority or a qualified electrician to ensure compliance with all applicable regulations. These local codes may address issues such as the type of fittings that are permitted, the maximum length of FMC runs, or the specific grounding requirements. Furthermore, the manufacturer of the FMC may provide recommendations for its proper installation and use. It is advisable to follow these recommendations to ensure that the conduit is installed correctly and will perform as intended. The manufacturer's instructions may include information on the proper bending techniques, the maximum allowable pulling force, and the types of fittings that are compatible with the conduit. When installing FMC in a crawl space, it is important to consider the potential for physical damage. The conduit should be protected from impact, abrasion, and other hazards that could compromise its integrity. This may involve using protective sleeves or guards to shield the conduit from damage. Additionally, it is important to ensure that the crawl space is adequately ventilated to prevent the accumulation of moisture and other contaminants. Proper ventilation can help to extend the lifespan of the FMC and prevent corrosion. When running FMC through walls or floors, it is important to seal any openings to prevent the spread of fire and smoke. The NEC requires that all penetrations be properly fire-stopped to maintain the fire resistance of the building. This can be achieved by using approved fire-stopping materials that are designed to seal around the conduit and prevent the passage of fire and smoke. In addition to fire safety, it is also important to consider the potential for electrical interference. FMC can act as a shield to protect sensitive electronic equipment from electromagnetic interference, or EMI. However, it is important to ensure that the conduit is properly grounded to maximize its shielding effectiveness. When installing FMC in a commercial kitchen, it is important to consider the specific needs of the kitchen equipment. The conduit should be sized appropriately to accommodate the electrical loads of the equipment and to prevent overheating. Additionally, it is important to ensure that the conduit is installed in a manner that does not obstruct access to the equipment for maintenance and repairs. When working with FMC, it is important to use the proper tools and techniques. This includes using a conduit bender to create smooth, uniform bends without damaging the conduit. It also includes using a conduit cutter to make clean, precise cuts. Additionally, it is important to use a torque wrench to tighten fittings and connectors to the proper torque specifications. This will help to ensure that the connections are secure and will not loosen over time. When inspecting an FMC installation, it is important to look for any signs of damage or deterioration. This includes checking for cracks, dents, corrosion, and loose fittings. Any damaged or deteriorated conduit should be repaired or replaced immediately to prevent electrical hazards. It is also important to verify that the conduit is properly supported and grounded. This can be done by checking the spacing of the supports and by testing the grounding continuity. Finally, it is important to document the FMC installation. This includes creating a wiring diagram that shows the location of the conduit runs and the connections to the electrical equipment. It also includes keeping records of any inspections, repairs, or modifications that have been made to the installation. Proper documentation can help to ensure that the installation is properly maintained and that any future problems can be easily identified and resolved. In summary, the installation of flexible metal conduit (FMC) in a commercial kitchen crawl space requires careful attention to detail and compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. By following the guidelines outlined in the National Electrical Code (NEC) and consulting with local building authorities and qualified electricians, it is possible to ensure a safe and reliable electrical installation. Remember to always prioritize safety when working with electricity and to seek professional assistance when needed. Furthermore, remember to account for the specific environmental conditions of the kitchen and crawl space, ensuring that the FMC is protected from moisture, grease, and physical damage. Proper support, grounding, and fire stopping are crucial for maintaining the integrity and safety of the installation. Regular inspections and documentation are essential for identifying and addressing any potential problems. By adhering to these best practices, one can create a safe and efficient electrical system that meets the demands of a commercial kitchen environment. Also consider the specific needs of the kitchen equipment, such as appropriate conduit sizing and accessibility for maintenance. Always use the proper tools and techniques when working with FMC, ensuring clean cuts, smooth bends, and properly torqued connections. Staying informed about the latest code updates and industry standards is also essential for ensuring ongoing compliance and safety. Always consult with qualified professionals for any electrical work to ensure safety and compliance. The longevity of the FMC installation is affected by several factors, which should be considered during the planning and installation phases. Firstly, the quality of the materials used plays a significant role. Opting for high-quality FMC and fittings that are specifically designed for commercial kitchen environments can enhance resistance to corrosion, moisture, and grease accumulation. Secondly, proper installation techniques are crucial. Ensuring that the FMC is securely fastened with appropriate straps or hangers at the recommended intervals prevents sagging and potential damage. Thirdly, regular maintenance and inspections are essential for identifying and addressing any issues before they escalate. This includes checking for loose connections, corrosion, and physical damage. Addressing these issues promptly can prevent costly repairs and ensure the continued safe operation of the electrical system. Fourthly, consider the environmental factors within the crawl space. Adequate ventilation is essential for preventing moisture buildup, which can lead to corrosion. If the crawl space is prone to dampness, consider using moisture-resistant FMC and fittings or implementing measures to improve ventilation. Fifthly, future expansion or modifications should be anticipated. When planning the FMC installation, consider the potential for future needs, such as adding new equipment or modifying the layout of the kitchen, leaving room for expansion and ensuring that the electrical system can accommodate future loads can prevent costly and disruptive renovations down the line. In addition to these factors, it is also important to stay informed about any changes to the National Electrical Code, or NEC, or local built-in codes that may affect FMC installations. Regularly reviewing these codes and standards can help to ensure ongoing compliance and safety. In conclusion, installing FMC in a commercial kitchen crawl space requires careful planning, proper installation techniques, and ongoing maintenance. By considering the factors outlined above and consulting with qualified professionals, one can create a safe, reliable, and long-lasting electrical system that meets the demands of a commercial kitchen environment. Remember to prioritize safety, compliance, and quality to ensure the long-term success of the installation. Always refer to the latest edition of the National Electrical Code, or NEC, and local built-in codes for the most up-to-date requirements and recommendations. The information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Consulting with a qualified electrician or building inspector is essential for ensuring compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous and should only be performed by qualified individuals. Prioritize safety and seek professional assistance when needed. By following these guidelines, you can ensure safe and efficient FMC installation in your commercial kitchen crawl space.